What's up, everyone? Welcome to Base Damage, and this week on Rogue Deck Reviews, we got a deck sent in to us by Beenry. Shout out to Waifu Wars. Thank you very much for sending this in, bro. The title of it, once again, this is on wsdecks.com. So link in the description if y'all want to check it out. For this one is Madoka Magica set. From what I understand, primarily from the movie set, the Rebellion set. So the title of this being a magical girl and Ian is suffering. So I already like the title as it is. So the only description that we seem to get for this is sign a contract with Cube and pray you don't get paired up against KC, a Kantai collection. So this will be fairly interesting. Of course, a lot of people fear the Kantai pairing up. But yeah, so for this, we're also going to go over the colors. We got primarily, I was going to say yellow, primarily blue, red, and a splash of green. So it looks like only like 8 green cards total. So I don't know, we might see some of that as finishers, we might not. So getting into this already, we got the Cube. As far as I know, I think all of the text is up here for the effects. So let's just jump right into it. For level 0s, we're starting off with this Homura watches over is level 2. I'm going to actually see if I can zoom in a bit. Nope, okay, too much. Okay, sorry. Homura watches over. It's level 0, 2500. Okay, so it's the Brainstorm. Pay 1, rest 2 of your characters. Mill 4 for every climax. Search your deck for a magic character, put it into your hand. So classic Brainstorm search, really good. 3 of those. 2500 power for that, if I didn't say. Kyoko shares an apple. Okay. All of your other characters named second year of Mitakihara Middle School Sayaka, so it increases the Sayakas, get 1000 power. It's probably like a vanilla. Sometimes these buffs like this go to, more often than not, will go to like vanillas or whatever. So, and it has a bond with that, so when you play it, you can pay 1 to grab that. So let's just go ahead and poke around for this. Yep, I was right. So it powers up this vanilla. It bonds with this and then powers it up to a free 65, essentially. I say free, but you end up paying a stock to play this. But I mean, if you have other copies or whatever. And it's just it's a global, so it doesn't matter where you place them at that point. So 4 of those, really, really good as far as like the bond effects like that are really nice. All right. Supporting role, Cube. Yeah, you support all right, you little fucking demon. Okay. If this card is on your center stage, your other magic characters in the middle position of the center stage gets Clock Encore. Huh. It's actually kind of interesting. You can't keep them in the back row, but that's still not bad. Like, that's actually kind of cool. If you do a more of like a Soul Rushy type deck, you could throw copies of him out and just like side with them with the extra soul anyway. Still try to have characters to get over. Like try to get buff up enough to get over characters. It'd be interesting, and then still have that for some Clock Encore shenanigans. So 2 copies of that. 4 copies of Sayaka Looks Up to Mommy. Oh, you don't have to look up for long. Sorry. When this card is placed on stage from your hand, look at the top card of your deck and put it on the top or the bottom. So, scrying. That's not. I don't know. That's not scrying. That's called something else. Excuse me. When this attacks, you reveal the top card of your deck as well. If the revealed card is a magic character, put it into your hand. And then you choose a card and put it from your hand, put it into your waiting room. So the extra little hand filtering like that's also really good. Extra climaxes or whatever, always good to have those to chuck. They're really good for that. It's only a 15 though, or only 1500 power. But either way, 4 copies of that for some good hand filtering early on. Okay, that is a good point. The first effect would actually play into this, because if you see that it's a climax, you can put that on the bottom of the deck, or if you know it's a music character that you want, you can then swing with this first, and then be like, oh, get this to hand, go ahead and pitch this. It's actually pretty good for, also, it's multiple ways of setup. That's actually really interesting now I think about it. Send 3 copies of this Madoka. If the number of cards in your stock is 2 or less, she gets 1500 power. So she can be a level 0 4K with basically 0 drawback as long as you have the stock at 2 or less, which is still really good for especially if you do like first turn play. But that also means you can throw down like 2 of them or so, even if you go second, and you got enough hand advantage, and just be able to make certain that you take out some stuff. Okay, so that's pretty cool. So for level 0s, we got 3, 6, 10, 16. So then getting into level 1, so there's none of the green is splashed in at level 1, it seems. It's just the red and blue. Green doesn't seem to come in until level 2. So we have 4, 6, 7, so only 9 level 1, so interesting. Granted, enough, as long as you have the level 0s that bond with this, you can easily get these, so that's actually pretty cool. I guess that's also another reason for the kind of increased Brainstormer count, but I mean, that's whatever. So vanilla 55 can become a 65 if you got the bond on the field. Then you have Doubt Towards the World Kyoko. So for that, 2 of this. When it's a level 1, so it's a level 1 reverser. And also when it becomes reversed in battle, choose one of your magic characters, and that character gets 1500 power till end of turn. That's actually really interesting for the double effect there. I guess it sacrifices a little extra power to be able to give that. Considering I think most level 1 reversers are anywhere from like 35 to 45, or like 35 to 4k as far as like power. So not only do they have to be careful if they swing into this with a level 1, because they know they're going to get reversed, but also if they reverse it, she can give a buff to somebody else and make other shit harder to kill. Or purposely use her. This is multi-use. This is both good offensive and defensive. Oh, I need to make certain that one of these gets over a particular character. I'm going to purposely swing this Kyoko into a level 1 that's being a problem card right now. Reverse that. Mine becomes reversed, which would be easier for it to become reversed because of the low attack, and then give an additional buff. So get rid of take care of a lot of problems, and that is actually really nice for that. So that's really cool. Only 1 copy of Magical Girls Tea Party. I was supposed to say The Party. Sayaka. Clock on Core, and an act ability to put a climax from your hand into your waiting room until end of turn. This card gets 1000 power. Oh, and the following ability: when the battle opponent becomes reversed, you may draw a card. This is actually really nice. I'm kind of surprised there aren't more copies of this in here. I mean, even if it's only like 1 or 2 more, that's actually really nice to be able to go ahead and get that out. For only 1 stock, that lets you be 6k, which it'll end up hand fixing itself if you're able to do that. So you'll be a 7k, and you can actually pay that act as many times as you want, and that effect it would stack if I'm not mistaken. So for every climax you want to pitch, make her that much bigger, and then swing, and then draw that many cards. That's actually kind of cool. Like, as long as you can reverse the opponent, like, in the end, you'll get back just as many cards. Once again, like, that's actually kind of a surprise. I would love to see that at, like, maybe 2. I don't know, it's whatever, but that's actually a really good card. Then this Sayaka, that's just a 1500 backup. So 2 copies of that. Into the level 2s, there's only 4 level 2s, and this is where green starts coming in. So we have the Homura, or Time Regressor Homura. When it's placed on stage from your hand, if the number of cards in your deck is 5 or less, free fresh. Return all cards in your waiting room to shuffle to your put a card named End of Karma for Madoka. If you do shuffle your deck, choose one of your characters. Oh, okay, so you can specifically do this to buff up a particular Madoka? Put up to 2 cards on the top of your deck underneath that character as a marker, and all your characters get 2000 power till end of turn. Oh, but he doesn't run the... Because that's Madoka. I don't see any other copies of her, unless WS Dex just didn't have it up there. Admittedly, with Weiss, you can always... You carry out the effect as much as you possibly can. So what you first do is you do the free fresh. You attempt to do, to my understanding, you would get the free fresh, and all your characters get 2000 power till end of turn. You still get that. You just do not get the markers that would go under that Madoka, to my understanding. Because with that, you can always pay cost. You carry out an effect as much as humanly possible. I learned this actually going over the Attack in Waves Asuna and Attack in Waves Kirito. One of the Kirito's effects states, when the battle opponent becomes reversed, choose one of your characters and rest it. And then you move it to an open position of your center stage. If you do not have any open positions of your center stage anywhere that's open, if you don't have an open space, you can still rest the character. So to my understanding, you can still do this as a free fresh. Nothing would get markers if you do not have the Madoka. You don't get the markers, but it still gives a 2,000 buff to all your characters. I want to say that's how that would work. I could be completely and totally wrong. If anybody actually knows the answer to that, if you would please comment that in the comments, it'd be much appreciated. But I believe that's how that would work. But if I'm wrong, please correct me. So 2 copies of that, and if that works the way that I think it does, that actually is really cool. Especially if you just want to, that would include herself. If you just want to do that at like level 3 or something like that, it'd be really nice. Or whenever you're about to refresh, it's whatever. A single copy of Exterminating Nightmares Kyoko. Okay, so it's an anti-change, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so it's a 2,500 backup, and then you can pay 2 and send a character from your stage to the waiting room. I was hoping that was the cost. I actually really like that type of cost because you can always do that and sack a character, be able to sacrifice a character from anywhere to basically be able to stop your opponent's on reverse effects. So I really like those, being able to do that. And prevents clock shooting, prevents just any type of plussing on reversibility. I really, really like the anti-change effects that do that. I'm sorry if I said anti-salvage before, but I meant anti-change. It's just the fact of having to pay the extra stock, but you might as well say I'm paying 3 stock to ensure that you don't like auto kill me type thing or whatever. So that's actually really nice. And the fact that you could go ahead and be doing that like at level 2. That also means if you're paying 3 stock, you could potentially clear out climaxes from your stock and whatnot. So this is still really cool. I like that. So 1 copy of that, and 1 copy of My Role Sayaka, a level assist, 500 times the character's level in front, and an act. Pay 2, rest this card, and search your deck for a magic character. So it's essentially just like minus the level assist part, it's just like a Kashi from Kantai. So that's really cool. So 1 copy of that. And then getting to the level 3s, we have some level 2 events though, but we'll get to that in a second. Oh wow, like 4 copies of that. Okay, so for level 3s we have 7. So starting off we have Sayaka Miki. This card gets 500 power for each of your other magic characters. So already can get pretty big. If you have full field, she can become a 12k. That's nice. When it's placed on stage from hand, you can heal 1. When she becomes reversed, you put her into your memory. So that's her drawback for being able to become so big. But at the same time, you heal on play. That's perfectly fine. So that's actually kind of a fair trade-off, is the heal on play plus be able to get big. That's really nice. So 2 copies of that. 2 copies of Intuitive Type Kyoko. When it's placed in stage from hand, you may put the top card you're clocking away. So heal 1 on this. When this attacks, you may pay the cost. It's 2 stock and discard a card. Put a card, yes, so you can discard anything. If you do, deal 1 damage to your opponent. So that's also really nice. To be able to do that on attack and potentially kill that way is actually really nice. I just kind of like how that is. I've been in situations where you only have to poke someone for like 1. It's like, I'm just going to summon 2 little chump swingers and try to swing for this first and try to poke exactly for 1. The cool thing is off of that, you can also do that if you wanted to side attack. If you wanted to make certain that you have like 2 instances of like very low damage to try to stick, you can still side and do that. It's kind of cool. So then 1 Guided by the Law of the Cycle Sayaka. This is one of the really interesting cards. If the number of climaxes in your waiting room is 6 or more, she gets -1 level in hand. So to be able to do that and then do the free rush after that, it's kind of cool. At the beginning of your opponent's draw phase, if this card is in your center stage, choose 1 of your characters, and that character gets 4,000 power till end of turn. Oh, that big buff. If you give it to her, she becomes a 13/5. That's nice. And then if a card named Sayaka's True Identity is in your climax area, you may pay the cost. If you do, search your deck for up to 2 magic characters. So you pay 1 on attack if you have the climax. 2 magic characters, reveal them, add them to your hand. So, and that's actually really nice. The Sayaka's True Identity is a 1k1 pants trigger. I actually really like that. So make certain that you get the copies. And if this is able to come out and do this at level 2 and then do the refresh, you have all of your targets in there, which is really nice. You just have all the targets to be able to get anything that you want. And then she gets even bigger. Goodness gracious. So that would be really nice. And if you're able to time that like just right to where you have like 2 cards left in deck or something like that, and then summon this, summon that, and just be able to go off. It's really nice. So 3 copies of that. So it's partially an engine, partially also really good. It's like the Zekken Yuki, essentially. For more deck compression, even late game, for the higher chances of cancels, which is really good. So then going into the events, we have 6 events. So really event heavy, but these are also all at level 2. I think I know what this one does. I'm going to go ahead and do this one. Choose one of your characters with Sayaka and its card name. Put it into your waiting room. If you do, put the top card of your clock into your hand. Okay, this is another, like the being able to prevent your opponent from doing their on reverse effects. If you have Sayakas, you can pitch them for this effect and then heal one. So you put the card... Oh, okay, you put the top card of your clock into your hand. You actually get stuff back for this. And that also gets around heal tax. And then you put it into memory. Put this card into memory. So prevent them from getting on reverse effects. Heal that gets around heal tax. And put this into memory for future compression. I actually really like this card. That's very, very nice. And I would definitely say 4 copies of this in here is a mandatory. That is really cool. Level 2, only 1 cost for that. That's so good for just a 1 cost. I would thoroughly expect that to be like a 2, minimum of 2 cost. I mean, I would not even put it past them to do like a 3 cost. This is really good. But I guess it's because part of it is you have to sacrifice a character if you want the full effect. So they kind of put that in there for a cost. I see it as a benefit, though, to prevent the on-reverse effects. So that's actually really cool. And then 2 copies of Magical Girl Appears as a red, level 2, 1 cost. Choose up to 2 characters in your waiting room, return them to your hand, and then discard 1. So that's actually really cool. It's not a counter event, even though, oh my god, that would be so much greater if this was like a counter event. But you could do this during the main phase, which would get around anti-salvage as well. So that's really nice. So I really like that. I love this card. This is actually really, really fucking good. So only 6 events, and then 4 1k1 pants, 4 1k1 salvage trigger. Okay, so that was... this is definitely interesting. I see where there is definitely synergy. Like, seeing these kinds of decks almost makes me kind of sad that you don't see more Madoka stuff. But... like, even though I know the description stated, pray you don't get paired up against Kantai, this actually is set up because a lot of Kantai stuff is like on reverse, like especially back in the day. Before, I do not remember if the second set came out before or after Madoka Rebellion. I do not know the timing on that. But if this came out before the second set of Kantai came out, the bigger on-reverse effects are going to be... well, I guess also your on-reverse prevention is at level 2 as opposed to level 1. So I guess Shimikaze's would still be able to go off pretty decent. Late game, though, you would be able to stop a lot of like Akagi Kai and whatnot, which is really cool. So I don't know. I really, really do like how Madoka is set up. So... as far as, like, sure, maybe in today with all the other shenanigans going on, they would have a little bit more harder of a time, but I do still like the series, because when I remember watching the anime, and the anime was great. I actually don't think I've watched the movies, and I need to. So, but yeah, thank you very much, Beenry, for sending this in. Beenry, Waifu Wars. Thanks a whole bunch for sending this in, dude. And this was actually really nice to look over. Kind of a decent change of pace because I know I've done a whole bunch of Kantai Rogue Deck reviews and a whole bunch of other stuff. So one, a good change of pace. Two, actually fairly nice setup as far as like how stuff is. Once again, I'm uncertain on the ruling of the free fresh. As far as I know, you could do the free fresh. I just want to know if you could give the plus 2,000 power to everybody. Like that's kind of what I'm like wishing could be done. So that would be really, really cool. But thank you all very much for watching. Is much appreciated. If you have your own rogue decks or any decks, I don't even care if they're rogue or not. Like, just send them in. Comment them in the comment section. Send me a private message with the link or whatever. Send it to us on Facebook. However you want to send it in, I'll look over it. I'll do something for it. Thank you very much for watching. And if you would subscribe, it'd be super appreciated. If not, it's all good. I'm just glad you're watching stuff. We'll see y'all on the flip side. Peace out for now.